What was brought into the Vietnam generation was fear. It was brought home to the dinner table. And those that didn't go felt guilty because many didn't come back. And mostly in the recent generation, the 40-year war, or the long war, that started maybe mid-80s, 1990, going into 2000, 2010, 2020, practically 40 years, 35 to 40-year war. There's a lot of missing limbs, percussion problems, hearing problems because of the IEDs. A lot of times the soldier was disintegrated, just like you would see in Star Wars. You know how when the character just disintegrates? That's what happens in an IED in the Afghan war. So they were kind of afraid of disintegrating, you know. The explosion was that powerful. See Hurt Locker. It's Catherine Bigelow, one of our greatest directors. She was the only one that could really cover the war. She worked with Schnabel the painter, who worked with Andy Warhol. She was able to cover what was going on. I don't think anyone else was able to really cover it. You know, they didn't really catch on to the true fear of that war and what the soldier probably went through. A lot of them were decked out on energy drinks, hydrating, driving around wasting gas, using jet fuel and chopper fuel all day long, just driving around aimlessly, looking for something they'd never find. It was different than a jungle war where they stepped on a landmine, lost their leg or lost their life, or they were shot. I'm sure Foster was probably sniped. It could have been friendly fire. I don't know to this day. My best friend who was killed in the Afghan war, I don't know how he died. He lost his life on the second tour. It could have been friendly, but does it make a difference? It was still a human being that shot him. I found out he died under fire. He was under gunfire. So does it matter? If it was friendly or not, does it really matter? There was a reason he died. What was that reason? Right? What was the reason though? What was the real reason? Was there a reason for Vietnam? I mean, obviously we've conquered the aspect that we don't have to go to war, but then you start to bring the war home over money. Did they shoot him over money? You know, like Chris Kyle had a price on his head. So one of his own soldiers killed him. It wasn't an Afghan soldier that killed Chris Kyle. It was a possible police officer that killed Chris Kyle. He was just too crazy to become one. He had a reason to do it. It was in his own head. He had a legal reason, a respectful legal reason in his own head to kill. Just like Mark David Chapman had a reason in his head. A legal reason, something that made sense, right? Some kind of law in his head. A courtroom would go off in Mark David Chapman's head before he shot John Lennon using, 5 bullets from some type of weird revolver, a charter gun as they call it. Little 38, all you legalistics like that. See, you want to know the names of the bullets so you can correct. I correct you, Cole Spivey. I correct you. It wasn't that type of bullet. It was actually like my mime teacher. I correct you. Watch your shoulder. I correct you. You know, correct, S-H-I-T. So he lost his life for legal reasons on their side, right? He was behind enemy lines. Well, how can you be behind enemy lines of your own family? Because you have a badge, take it off, surrender, turn it in. Because if you don't, you're going to go to prison, I promise you. You'll go to prison if you don't turn in that badge. I'll make sure. I'll become commander-in-chief and make sure that you do. I'll hunt you down and I will take you from your room. I will take you from your family and I'll make sure. Because you're not listening to me now. Make sure this is heard everywhere. Because we're going to change the way the world is. We're all going to work together as a happy family. And we're going to destroy enemy lines, including religion, or at least the religion to die for. We're going to get rid of that. And I'm not talking about Christianity. I'm not talking about having a personal relationship with Christ. Anyone can have that in their heart. Look what happened to the missionaries that were captured by the Japanese when they were behind enemy lines. They had Jesus Christ in their heart. They can't take that away from you, but you can't put a bullet. You cannot put a Bible bullet, is what it is, a metaphorically bullet. You cannot put a Bible and staple it onto somebody. You know, it's a bullet with butterfly wings and all that stuff. That's childish stuff. That Billy was trying to make a point because of his child abuse, and I appreciate him trying to do that, but he doesn't know what true fear and pain is. David Bowie probably knew about it because he was nearly beat to death, and that's why his eye did not dilate properly. Billy had some crooked teeth and threw a fit, right? He's also there to correct me. He's one of the people of the town of Vanity, right? Do I have the right to respect my family, respect what I have? Do I have that right to hold my own? Yes, I do. Do I own what David Koresh owned? No, I do not. Do I smuggle anything? Nothing. Do you? Yeah, you smuggle legalistic filth across the world, killing people with it. Why did George Floyd die? He died over a $20 legalistic bill called legal tender. It's a form of legalism. He died over a fake $20 bill trying to buy a pack of cigarettes. You just killed him in front of everybody. That guy will sit and rot in prison. I'd like to interview him. I'd like to ask him, why did you really do it? And he'll give me all these reasons. Well, I was simply trying to do my job. Sit in prison. There's your job. Sit in prison. Mr. Copper, there's your job. Sit in prison. Do your job there now. Past your job. Why'd you kill a poor black man that cried out for his own mother because you knew he was dying, just like the soldiers on the beach of Normandy? You ever seen Saving Private Ryan? They called out for their mothers because they could call out for nothing else. God wasn't listening to him. He might have cried out for Jesus. Boy, if he did cry out for Jesus, it would have been different, though, wouldn't it have been? That would have been even worse, and they may have went for the death penalty, which I think was justice for George Floyd's death, right? The old eye for an eye. That's what they live by. That's what they do their legalism for. It's an eye for an eye, right? You owe the money, right? He owed the money, the $20 bill that was owned to the government. Government processing the money, printing the money. Oh, yeah, you'll correct me again. Not necessarily, Cole. Not necessarily. Whoop, I stand in front of you. The mime teacher speaks as he's trained by the Navy. Keep your shoulder down. Keep the shoulder down. That's important, Cole, to learn the form. The form that I'm supposed to have. Why I sit here in hell and misery because I don't have your form. You are no longer a police officer. You lost your job. Turn in your badge. I'm not joking around. I am and will become the commander-in-chief if I so campaign. I have the right to be president just as anybody else does. I have the right more so than Trump because I have that, which is God on my side. We are in a horrible war of spiritualism, far worse than the darkest hour. We are in a horrible war, and those that laugh now will cry. They will cry later. It's time for us to grow up. Put away your toy, your gun. The law is not to be enforced. It's not even to be implemented. We are already practically at utopia because we can make money. George Floyd, all he had to do was pick up his phone and get on social DM and go to the mall. He would have made $1,000 a day like anybody can do. Even me. I can go to the mall and on social DM, I can make $1,000 a day. And then I'll give it to you, Biden, or whoever steps in Biden's place. I'll give it to you. You can have my money. You can have my family. Enjoy them. As you wipe out all these unborn babies across the nation, legally you murder every day. Every day you murder babies, every day. You're not a baby killer, you're a baby slaughterer, and you do it to many women. Because women are to be watched over. We are their spiritual leaders. We're not to lead them to the abortion clinic, rob me of a life that was owed to me. And will they file murder charges on her? No, they will not. She's a little Navy brat. Boy, but I'll tell you what, they'll file Taco Bell charges on her because she's running up her Taco Bell bill. Because when you murder, you have to eat for it. It's part of the murder law that God puts in your blood, part of what Cain had to go through. You lost your badge, you lost your lethal weapon. Now go be a good person like Jesus told you to be, and love others and be kind. Because if you don't, you'll not only go to prison, which is where you're headed with your badge and sidearm, but you'll also go to hell. H-E double hockey sticks. And Stephen King will walk you right in. Because listen, Stephen King loves you. Oh, he loves all the first responders. I have no problem with the firemen and the people that go out and help people and watch out for people's safety. But I do have a problem with people that slaughter people over money. That's called gangsterism, which is where our country's headed. We'll rise up, we'll take control. You're looking at the commander-in-chief. And when I say stand down, you will listen. I can become that. I'm old enough and I'm wise enough and I have the education. Roger? All right, let's drop off this food. I think it's maybe this one or something. I got a crackhead that was president. I might have had one as a kid. Just like George Washington. He just took it to control.
All right, go ahead and pull up to the window.
Appreciate you. Policy on a few things if I campaign. I'm anti-marijuana. I don't think it should be legal. I'm also anti-alcohol. I don't think alcohol should be illegal. I think it's time for us to grow up. I think wine is wrong. We can drink grape juice. Grow up. Put away your wine and put away your beer. Cigarettes, outlawed. Marijuana, outlawed. Abortion, outlawed. I'd go with a third party. There's nothing wrong with having a little bit of prohibition again. We can make money off that. Police, outlaw them carrying a lethal sidearm. Still keep the SWAT just in case they don't listen. But they have to have a commander on the SWAT team that has a lot of psychological training before they want to execute somebody. Police should never have the right to kill anyone. They would lose their job if they did. It's an immediate dismissal from the force if anyone dies at their hands. They'd have a stun gun and a radio. And they can have these devices to watch over them. So I'll be outlawing a lot of things. They don't like that. Citizens, they can have any weapon they want. Anything. Even an M60. They can be armed to the gill. Any citizen. They can have surface-to-air missiles, everything. One thing that I will support in our country is the right to have your own militia and your own church. I'll expect compounds to be everywhere. And people like David Koresh are to be left alone. Because it says in the Constitution that we have the right to form our own militia. We'll stay by the Constitution. And we will not trespass upon that. Or we won't be a country anymore. So, no drugs, no alcohol, no cigarettes, no guns for police officers, and no abortion. The law will not be enforced nor implemented. It'll be realized. So if there was some type of thing that went wrong with a traffic stop, the cop runs the other way. Whoops, he went the wrong way. Let's kill him. No, the cop will go the other way. We will choose to go with de-escalation. If it's too much, ooh, this little computer says it's too much. Whoops, he ran a stoplight. I didn't see it. I just saw someone run a stoplight just a moment ago. Whoops. We got cameras for that. All right. Freedom of speech, always. Vlogging, all the time. Perfectly legal. No copyright laws against it. They're playing David Bowie, vlog all day. Copyright laws lowered. You can have whatever religion you want. Constitution, fine. No enforcement of anything. We'll have what's called utopia. Now, our money problem. Let's get rid of it. You know, Hamilton stepped in and he organized how money was to be dished out. Me? Just get rid of it. Just get rid of it. We don't need it. I'm doing what I love. This guy over here who's jogging, he's doing what he loves. He loves that. Watch, here it goes. He loves doing that. We'll all find a way to share. What is it called? The Solomon's mind? Or Solomon's mine? That's Apple. They got it all anyway. The government has to knock on the door and go, Apple, can I borrow some money? Just go to Apple. They'll figure it out. They're geniuses. Have people like Zuckerberg give ideas. Have people, I don't know. I don't want to talk about Bill Gates. But like, you know, people that know how to think. Does anyone have the right to starve to death? No. Does money cost, does food cost money? It shouldn't. 1 out of 5 children starving because of money. Because we're lovers of money is outlawed. If you set someone down and they love money, that's outlawed. You are not to love money. You're a loved people. You're loved God's people. Any religion, you're still to love God's people. I'll talk about Jesus Christ because I can. I have the constitutional right. There's a separation between church and state. Broaden it. Big wall between the two. Leave the churches alone. Leave God's people to God's people. Now, give unto Caesar meant that because Jesus taught survival to his followers. If they didn't give unto Caesar, they were slaughtered or turned into a Roman candle, which means they were burned alive. Those days are over. Caesar died. Goodbye, Caesar. Bye-bye. We don't do Roman candles anymore. We got rid of it. Now it's an Elliott Smith song. Pretty good one, too. You get it? We'll find a way to share equally among each other. Now, movie stars, get on it. Cooper can do stuff. Tom Cruise can do stuff. Arnold Schwarzenegger can help people. They have money and power, and they're a part of Hollywood. They can share their wealth. Steven Spielberg has $4 billion. George Lucas has $5 billion. Share the worth so that we can live. There's families out there that want to live a civil life. What's civilization? It's sharing. We can share. We can give food to one another. Get off your butt and go do something. If you've got money, go deliver food. Wake up. Follow Messiah, or you'll end up in HE double hockey sticks, including you, Stephen King.